What's up, guys? Out running a few errands this morning. No jobs this morning, but running errands, doing this stuff is still work, guys. You're still working when you're out doing this stuff. Securing materials, whatever errands you got to run, going to the bank. I mean, that's still work. So you're doing your paperwork, stuff you have to do when you're figuring out, getting receipts and stuff together, all that's still work, guys. Anyway, I know I think the video ended a little abruptly yesterday. I think I was telling y'all about when I got my first commercial mower, first real commercial zero turn. I bought it in July of 2021, a Skag Tiger Cat. Skag Tiger Cat 2. It has the Kawasaki fuel injected FT730, I believe it is. So that was a real game changer in my business, guys. I was able to get rid of that Husqvarna 54-inch Husqvarna I had, and I did end up keeping my John Deere 42-inch John Deere mower for a while. Actually, I just got rid of it about 3-4 weeks ago after I bought the new V-Ride. So that mower was a real game changer for me, going from a residential Husqvarna mower that was always breaking down. The Tiger Cat was a real game changer for me, which I'm sure any commercial grade zero turn mower would have been. I just decided to go with a Skag. I got 2 dealers. Both of them were within 20 minutes of me. So one's 20 minutes one direction and the other one's 20 minutes the other direction. So pretty good dealer support for us. With that, one of the dealers sells Bad Boys and the other one sells Hustler and Skag. So the Skag was pretty good. They're pretty popular in my area. A lot of the guys are running Skag. The cut quality is great. Anyway, that mower was just a real game changer for me, and to have that my first year in business was a great. I never thought I would, I didn't think I was going to be there when I just started out. So that mower was great. I probably had at that time maybe about 10 or 12 regular people I was cutting for on a regular 2-week basis. Everything around here is bi-weekly. I was doing a weekly cut for a while, but pretty much everything in our area is bi-weekly. So I had about 10 or 12 I was cutting for on a regular basis the first year. And then we moved into the winter, and it just was dead, guys. From like the middle to the end of October on until March of that following year, it was just dead for me. I didn't have anything to go do. I did a couple, cleaned up, mulched up some leaves, but I didn't know what I was doing, so I really didn't have anything to do. And that's where having that other job, having a full-time job really helped out a lot. But because I didn't have nothing to do and I wasn't prepared for not having any work to do. So on into the spring of 2022, we'll fast forward a little bit. So I had, like I say, end of 21, I had about 10 or 12 regular customers. Well, I think all, but I contacted all those in the spring of 2022, a couple weeks ahead before, the grass really started growing. And most of them came back. I think I had 3 or 4 that didn't want to continue service, but most everybody came back with me. I did raise some prices on most of them, but didn't raise it on all of them. And that was kind of a screw up, a mistake I made on my part. Being young, or not young, but being young in business, I didn't realize that I needed to raise the price on everybody. So before the end of 2022, before the end of that season, I had the prices raised on pretty much everybody except for 2 people. So anyway, we picked up probably maybe 10 more customers during the 2022 season. Pretty much, guys, I went back to Facebook and I started in the spring, and I just started plastering, plastering ads all over Facebook. We'll cut your grass, cut your grass, cut your grass. By that time, I realized I needed to have a minimum of what I would charge. And I said, well, we got a $60 minimum. A lot of people don't want to hear, oh, we got a $60 minimum. They'll tell you, oh, we got a small yard. But guys, you got to stick to your guns. You got to set a minimum and stick to it. Whether it's a small yard, no matter how big the yard is, I found I've got to have a minimum in that keeps the window shoppers away, having a minimum. Because people will try to jew you down, they'll try to take advantage of you any way they can. I still have people try to take advantage of me any way they can. But I just stick to what I'm going to charge, and that's what I'm going to charge. Right or wrong, if I lose a customer over price, well, obviously they didn't find value in my work. If I lose them over price, they didn't find value in my work, or I was very, very expensive. So we picked up probably maybe 10 more customers on through 2022, and same thing I started this spring, guys. I went 2023, spring of 2023, I just hit Facebook and hey, well, $60 minimum still with that $60 minimum. We'll cut your grass. That's a basic mow, edge, and blow. $60. I think that's a fair price for our area. There's some guys out cutting it for $20. Some guys out doing it for $40. I don't know. Y'all probably have that in your area too. I'm sure everybody deals with that. There are so many people out here that will cut your grass, and then you get this customer, well, such and such did it for $40. I'd tell them, when they say that, I say, well, I can't do that. Or ask them, my other guy, you always hear, well, the last guy did it for this, but he quit showing up. Well, why did he quit showing up? That is a red flag for me, because either you're not paying him on time, you're cheap. Not necessarily cheap. I mean, he might only, either he's doing it for too little money, he charging you not enough. Why did this person quit showing up? So then you tell me, well, he was cutting it for $40. Well, you got an acre lot. Guys, I don't need $40. I'm not in a situation where I need $40 to cut an acre lot. By the time you spend your fuel, I mean, you ain't making nothing. You working for peanuts if you cut an acre lot for $40. You didn't make any money. By the time you travel to the job, to the yard, went through the logistics of setting everything up, paid insurance, if you're legit, if you got insurance, if you got a mower payment, you had to put gas in the mower, you had to buy a trimmer, you had to put gas in the trimmer, you paying insurance, you had to put gas in your truck. fuel in your truck, whatever, paid insurance on your truck. What did you make after you cut that yard for $40? I'm not going to call any of my customers or any of my potential customers cheap. If anybody watches this video besides one of y'all guys that's out here doing this every day, but you know, I'm sorry, I'm not going to cut your yard for $40 unless it's really, really, it better be really, really small. I have to start the mower up and get it off the trailer, and that's it. But anyway, you know, it's kind of a little bit more of how I started my business. Pretty much Facebook was my friend, and we've grown from there. Of course, toward the end of 2022, August of 2022, I realized my John Deere, you know, it's older. It ain't gonna help me out too much if I need a backup. I got some properties that mower is gonna not be good on if I needed to use it for a backup mower. So I started scouring Facebook, and I found a Skag V-Ride on Marketplace, and I thought I was getting a great deal. The guy had it posted for, I want to say, $2,800. Well, I hit him about half that, and he says, "Will you do $1,800?" I said, you know, yeah, let me come look at it. So I grabbed Chris, and me and him set off to look at this mower. Everything looked fine. The mower ran great. Everything looked good from what I could see, you know, without going into major detail. Everything looked great. So I asked the guy again. I said, "Well, will you take $1,400 for it?" He said, "Give me 16 and you can have it." I said, "Okay." So, you know, I gave the guy $1,600 for the mower, and we came home with a 2018 V-Ride with 1,100 hours on it. So I get home and I said, well, this thing ain't cutting too good, you know, let me put a set of blades on it. You know, I seen the blades that were on it, and I said, well, they kind of dull. I was like, hey, let me put a set of blades on it. So I put a new set of blades on this mower, and as soon as I turned the PTO on, these blades are hitting each other. I hear them under there knocking, hitting each other. I said, that's a blade hitting each other. I'd had that problem before on my John Deere where the deck had got bent. Well, on that just stamp deck, you can kind of straighten it out and get it fixed, get everything working right. Well, you can't do that on a Skag deck. So I said, well, the deck's bent. Come to find out the deck was bent. I got to looking at it a little bit closer, and you could see where the deck was bent, and pretty much everything up under the deck was shot. All the baffles, this mower had the mulch kit on it, but all those baffles were pretty much shot. So I called one of my dealers, and he said, yeah, we got a deck over here, you know, bring it to us. So I went over there and I said, you know, kind of had him price out a new deck for me, and I said, well, if we put a new deck on there, let's go ahead and put new spindles, and you know, let's do it right. If we're gonna do it, let's do it right. Let's go ahead and have it pretty much everything on the deck new. So my $1,600 mower turned into a $4,600 mower by the time I'd done that. Parts, labor, everything was right around $3,000. But I had a Skag V-Ride. I'd always, you know, I wanted one. I wanted a Skag V-Ride. I wanted a V-Ride. I wanted a stand-on mower. So I had one. Like I say, $4,600 in a mower has got 1,100 hours on it. The mower's a great mower still. I just had $500 worth of work done on it at the dealer. It was leaking oil really bad, and using about a quart of oil every 2 or 3 days. So I took it to the dealer, and they put a oil pan gasket on it. So while I was at that dealer, I decided, well, I was running my Tiger Cat, of course, and I decided I don't really like a sit down mower. I talked it over with the wife. I said, I can't run this sit down. This mower hurts my back. I don't know how many of y'all have back problems, but the sit down mower, I've had back problems for years, and the sit down mower just, it ain't for me. Like I say, it's a great mower, but it ain't for me. So I said, well, I need me another V-Ride. And I didn't want to buy another used one because of the experience that I went through with that one. I said, I want a new mower with a warranty. You know, if something happens to it, it's covered under warranty for at least a couple years. So that's what we did. So we'll be paying on that for the next 48 months. Yes, I went ahead and used Sheffield. I called Mr. Sheffield and I said, I need me a new mower. And he said, whatever you need. So we using Mr. Sheffield's money. Of course, we had to pay a little bit up front to use his money, but it is what it is. That mower payment, I'll make that, in a day. That's 1 day's worth of cutting. That mower payment for the month is 1 day worth of cutting. So it's kind of, something you got to, everybody don't have $12,000 to go buy a new mower with. And like I say, I didn't necessarily need a new mower. It was just something I could have used a Tiger Cat for a couple weeks and been just fine. And then until I got my V-Ride back from the dealer. But we went ahead and bought another mower. Since we bought another mower, when I got the other mower, I went ahead and sold the John Deere. So we no longer have the John Deere anymore. So we got about, I did pretty good for a John Deere Z345R that I probably paid $3,000 for. I got my money's worth out of it, and then sold it for, a fair amount. I thought was a fair amount, and the guy that bought it thought it was a fair amount, a fair deal. I thought I got a fair deal, and he thought he got a fair deal. So, anyway, say I always took care of the mower, kept everything maintained, kept the oil changed in it, put belts on it. The mower was in okay shape. The deck had been bent on it and straightened back out, but the mower was still in good shape. So it would have still went on and cut. As a matter of fact, my son was using it at his property. So, but now he's using the second V-Ride in his property, and I have the Tiger Cat still as a backup mower, but I know where it is. If I need to go get my V-Ride, I know where it's at. So, but anyway, we'll talk some more later about my business. If y'all got any more questions about how I started my business or whatnot, we can talk a little bit more about that. Y'all let me know what y'all want to know about that, and we can talk about that. But just pull back in the yard and go in here and get something to eat and get ready to go to work for the man, back to the full-time job. So we'll holler at y'all later. Maybe we'll holler at y'all sometime tomorrow or something. If not, we'll try to holler back at y'all Monday. Y'all have a good one, and y'all have a great weekend. Everybody stay safe, and we'll catch y'all on the next one. Appreciate everybody liking and subscribing to the channel. we're starting to grow the channel a little bit, so we appreciate that. And if y'all got any questions, want to see video on a certain subject, y'all let me know. I know the last two has been me kind of riding around in the truck, but talking, but not much footage but of mowing or anything. But if y'all want to see something, y'all holler at me and let me know. But anyway, y'all have a great weekend, and we'll catch y'all on the next one. Thanks, guys.